Hey guys, and welcome to another juicy Logic 11 tutorial, and in this one I'm going to show you how you can make
unlimited chord progressions.
Yeah, that's right, unlimited chord progressions, which you can either create manually or you can easily and quickly extract them from the hundreds of available chord progression MIDI files out there on the internet. And once you've created and saved your own chord progression files, they function exactly the same as the basic 6 chord progressions in the editor for the session player keyboard player in Logic. They're completely editable. You can edit the chords if you need to make changes to the variations of the progression, and you are completely free to change the playing using the editor app. Okay, so they're completely open-ended, just like the ones built into Logic. Do you want to know how to do that, to make unlimited chord progressions? Check it out. Okay, so here we are in Logic, and I've got 1, 2, 3 different chord progressions that I've created. Okay, first one is Pachelbel's Canon, which you'll probably recognise. It sounds like this. Okay, that's that one. It was used in, Coolio's I'll See You When You Get There and a few other ones. I think Oasis used it for Don't Look Back in Anger, at least the first bit of it. Okay, the next one is and that, by the way, is a 1-5-6-3-4-1-4-5. Okay, the next one is a 1-6-2-5. By the way, when I select something and then Command U puts a cycle range around it, in case you're interested in how I'm doing that. Right, the next one is a 1-6-2-5, and it's 4 bars just repeated twice. Yeah, so the chord progression is the chord changing every bar, 4 bars, and then it repeats another 4 bars. The last one here is a 1-6-3-4, and it's the same format as the previous one. It's the chord changing every bar, 4 bars in the sequence, 1, 3, because there's 4 chords, 1-6-3-4, and it just repeats twice, and it sounds like this. Okay, right. There's an example of 3 that I created. Now we can create them manually, but we can also quickly and automatically extract chord progressions from the endless amount of free chord progression MIDI files out there on the internet. Okay, so I'll show you that in a minute, but first, just so that this tutorial covers everyone, I'm going to show you how to create one of these manually. And before we do, there's just a couple of things I want you to set your Logic the same, or at least know how my Logic is set, so that if you're seeing things here that you don't have in yours, you'll know why. Okay, first thing, when I right click with my Logic, I get the tool and the shortcut menu for wherever I'm clicking. I get the shortcut menu for wherever I'm clicking and the tool menu above it. Okay, and I get that by going to Settings, General, then you choose the Editing tab from General, and here, right mouse button opens the tool and shortcut menu. I recommend putting it on that setting. It makes life a lot easier. Okay, next thing is the global tracks here have to be open, and you should see the chord track at the bottom here. If you don't, you right click anywhere in this area and make sure chord is ticked, then you'll have your chord track. Okay, and finally, it's good to, when you build these chord progressions by hand manually, to make the chords change every bar. It's easier to do it like that, but be aware that once we've built and saved our custom chord progressions, just like the regular library ones, they can easily be stretched or squashed to play at half speed, double speed, or whatever you want. So they might change on every bar, the chords, but you can make it so they change every 2 bars, or change every half a bar, or every quarter beat. It's easy to do that, and I'll show you how to do that at the end. Okay, let me show you first how to quickly create one of these chord progressions manually. Okay, snap is set to beat. Okay, and I'll just put my playhead right on a bar line. Go to the chord, let's zoom in a bit. Go to the chord track, and right on the money, on that where the playhead is on the bar, right click and do create chord. And now it'll create a chord marker there, which is 8 bars long. They're always 8 bars long by default. And I will start with C. But if I wanted to change it, what I do is I type, say, G, then I press enter. That sets the root to whatever. So I could do D, enter. Now it sets the root to D. Yeah. F, enter. It sets the root to F. But I'm going to go G, enter, like that. Okay. Then after I've set the root, I can choose whether it's any of these variations. So I'll stick with major. Yeah. Okay. And then once you've added any variations like major, like G7 or whatever, or major 7 or whatever it is you want, right, you just hit enter again and it fixes it. So that's the first one. Then I move the player to the next bar line, right on the money of that playhead, right click and do create chord, and it's going to create a new one there, and then we're going to keep it in C for this. But again, I could go D, enter, it's on D. So C, enter, I'm going to leave it on major, enter again, and there's a C. Then I move the player to the next bar line, right click right on the playhead, create chord. Here we're going to do an A like that, and then minor like that, and enter. And then lastly here, right click right on, I'll put it on the playhead right on the next bar, create chord. We're just going to put like F, and then we'll have it major. Boom. It's really, really simple. And then if I shorten this, we've now got 4 bars, right? Okay, so now I want to show you this strange bug. We've created a 4-bar chord progression here. And now what we need to do is put a yellow session player keyboard player region under this, and it will take the chords from this chord progression here. Now what you should do is place the playhead where you want to create that keyboard player yellow region, and right click and just do create session player region. But for some reason, even though we're on a keyboard session player track, it creates a drummer region. It's weird, it does this sometimes, right? So if you get that happening, the only way to create a region is, and if on this, and this is, look, this is definitely a session player keyboard track, right? Definitely. Okay. If this is visible down here, we'll try it again. Okay. Right click, create session player region, and it still creates a drummer region, so that doesn't fix it. So if you get that where it's creating a drummer region on the keyboard player session instrument track, then you have to create a new yellow region using this little plus icon at the end of the previous yellow keyboard player region. So let's pick up the video again where we're going to create a region using that little plus icon. Okay. The only way to do it without that is you have to go to the end of the previous region like that and click that little plus, and that will create a new session player region right on the end of this one, and then we just drag it across to where we want it like that. Then I'll shorten that so it's the same length as my 4 bars of chords there, and it will, this region is going to take the chords from here. Like that, and then you can edit it and tweak it how you want, but don't get hung up about the way the playing is, because obviously you can change the different styles of playing. There are presets for each of those which you can use as starting points. You can tweak it and tweak it to all you like, and I'll get into doing a tutorial about how all the editor works here, but this is really cool, this, so we'll stick with this for now, right? And lots of people have done tutorials on the editor. I'm showing you something perhaps you haven't seen elsewhere. This is how to make these chord progressions, okay? But don't get hung up on how you've constructed your chord to be played when you save this chord progression, because the playing could be changed as soon as you load it, right? So, you know, just get something going and check it's right, and that's it. There's your chord progression. Now, if you want to keep that 4 bars long, fine. If you want to double it up, you just select the chord block across there that's 4 bars and do Command R, and it repeats it. Then you select both of them, bring up the join tool or the glue tool and glue them together. Right, now it's 8 bars of the same 4 bars repeated twice. And then if we drag out our region, it will just follow the chords. Now it's just 8 bars, but the same 4 chords repeated twice. Okay, like that. repeats again. Okay, so how to save it now? Well, the first thing we got to do is we need to put the chords inside the pattern. So what we do is there's no need to select this and copy first. You just select the region, right click, and do paste chords from global track. It's the phrase is paste, even though you don't have to select this and copy and then paste it into here. It just will paste in whatever's above it. So right click, paste chords from global track, and that chord progression that we made is now inside the region. Now I'll drag a copy of that region off with Alt over here. Okay, and then this version I will take the chords out of it, follow global chord track. Now the chords have gone from it and it's following the chords across here that we constructed. So this is what we've got. This is the session player pattern following the chord progression we created. Then it just repeats it again, and here is the copy with the chords embedded in the region, and it sounds the same. Okay, and that's the one we want, the one with the chords embedded in the region. That's the one we're going to save. Okay, and now we just go and open the loop library, and you'll see it like this, right? And then you just drag that region in like that and let go. Boom. Oh, one thing, wait, before we do. Best thing before you do that is go to, with the region selected, go to details and make sure if the feel is set in either direction like that, just Alt click to make it on the money. Yeah? And the humanize, turn that right down, because that can all be changed. But remember, these patterns that we're saving are completely editable in this editor. So they can be tweaked any way we want once we load them up. But to save them, we want the notes to be right on the bar and beat lines, right? So that we don't get any issues, right? Ideally. Okay. So do it like that. Okay, right, we've done that. And now what we do is drag that region into the library, the loop library. Let go, and this pops up. Now I'm going to call it keyboard player. I'm going to call it G. What is it? G, C, A minor, F. Again, I'm going to call it, because I think I did one of these before when I was like doing some tests. Now it's in the key of G. Okay, and if we want to, we can make the key here G. Okay, but I'm calling it, you know, like these chord progressions here. The chord progressions are given, you know, like 1, 4, 3, 5 or whatever. I'm giving it the name of the actual chords. But if you worked out what this is in G, it's G is 1, so it's G, A, B, C. So it's a 1 for the G, the C is the 4, then the A minor is the G, A is the 2. So it's a 1, 4, 2, and the F is 1 after G, so it's 7. So it's a 1, 4, 2, 7. Okay. But I'm just calling it this. But I'll tell you what, I will call it 1, 4, 2, 7. Whoop. But it's in the key, I constructed it in the key of G. Alright? And you can fill this other stuff in if you want. Boom, create. And that's it. It's created now in the library. Now if we go to here, Sound Pack, My Loops, there it is. That's the one, isn't it? 1, 4, 2, 7. Yeah. And now watch. If I get this keyboard player. Now remember, I created it in G. It's G, C, A minor, F, which is 1, 4, 2, 7. But our current key here is signature is we're in the key of C. So if I bring this in now, even though I created it in the root of G, it will be a 1, 4, 2, 7, keeping the major and minor relationships, but in the key of C. Boom, like that. Look, C, F, D minor, and B flat. So it's fantastic. It'll just change to any key you want and keep the relationship between major and minor and all the rest of it. Yeah, and there it is, a custom loop we've constructed ourselves, and it's totally editable. I can go to any of these chords. This is my chord progression, 4 bars repeated, but I can go to any of these and double click and right click and edit that one chord to make a variation. I can make, these are just the stock ones that I'm creating and saving, but I can load them up and make any variations I want to any of the chords in that sequence. Fantastic stuff. And the pattern itself, I can change how it's played here. It's completely able to be played, quieter, louder, more complex, less complex. Everything can be changed, absolutely everything, as well as the basic style of how it's being played from the get-go. So it's totally open-ended. It's fantastic stuff, and it'll play and it'll keep that chord progression, whatever it is, in this case 1 4 2 7, in whatever key you've got here. It'll just do it, and it'll keep all the relationship between the sharps, flats, and majors, minors, and everything like that. It'll just work with whatever key you're in. Okay, that's how to do one manually. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to do one from a MIDI file. This is well cool, mate. Okay, watch me now. Here we go. How to make a custom chord progression from a chord progression MIDI file. Watch this. This is good. We go to the hard drive where I've downloaded some MIDI files. There it is. Number 1. No, don't import tempo. There it is. Okay, it's the same thing, repeating 2 bars, and then it repeats again. Okay, now first thing is look in the editor here, in the piano edit. You can see there's some little notes off the end there, so get rid of those. Next thing I advise doing is Command A, select all notes, and with no swing and full strength, quantize it, so the notes are right on the grid. Right. Next thing is I would, with all the notes selected, drag them out so they're longer. Okay, don't want little short staccato things like that. And you can see these chords are playing every half a bar. 1 2 3 4, and then the same repeated again. 1 2 3 4. So to turn this MIDI file into a chord progression, we don't need the second half 2 bars because it's just the same repeated, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So drag that back. We don't need that. Now I'm going to show you how to do it. This is really, really clever, actually. Watch this. So let's close that editor for a minute. So what we do is, this is the session player keyboard track, right? With that has these kind of regions on it. Let's bring this over a bit closer to here, right? Like that. Okay. Well, with this track selected, the session track that we've put the MIDI file on, we go to the track parameter box here, and where it says internal MIDI in, that will be set to off. So for this session player track, we're going to set it so that it receives MIDI from itself. This is the same track, Vintage Upright Studio Piano, right? So anything on this track is feeding MIDI into this track. So this MIDI file here will feed MIDI into this track. Okay, now what we do is put the playhead right at the start of that region, and on the chord track, right click and create chord, and it'll create an 8-bar long block as usual, and we can switch on the MIDI input. And now what's happening is it's this chord writer thing is now listening to the MIDI from this region playing into this track, and we just have to get it to trigger. We don't have to let the chord play all the way through. Okay, so just hit play, and as soon as the chord triggers, hit stop on the space bar. That's it. We just need to hear the chord, and it captures the chord, and then enter. So that first chord, let's zoom in a bit, is B minor 7 9. Now we take that cycle range off and go to the starter where the next chord is, right on the playhead, right click and create another chord right there at the starter where the next chord is in the MIDI file, and then again switch on that listen and hit play with the spacebar, and immediately the chord triggers, hit play again to stop. That's it, and it's a straight B minor 7 without the 9 this time. Enter. Next forward to the start of the next chord, right click right on the player to create a new chord there, right, and it keeps doing that jump, and then switch on MIDI listen and hit play. And as soon as you hit play with the spacebar and the chord triggers, hit stop again with the spacebar. We just need to hear it trigger and it'll capture the chord here. There you go, and it's an E minor 7. Enter, and then play it to the start of the next chord. Right click on the playhead, create chord, final chord, and this time, let's see what it is. Listen, hit play, and enter, and it's D major 7 9, and that's it. And then we've captured the 4 chords. So now we don't need this chord block spilling right off there like that. So we can shorten that to 4 bars, and there is the chords extracted from the MIDI file. B minor 7 9, B minor 7, E minor 7, D major 7 9, and that's what you're hearing there. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to leave that at 4 bars, but we know how to do it. If we want it to be 8 bars, the same thing repeating twice. We just select that chord block, Command R to repeat it, and then select them both and use the join tool to join them together. Then drag, and then any region created under it'll be like 2 cycles long. 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, 4 bars. But I'm going to leave it at 2 bars, right? Now, we've created our jazz chord progression, great, from this MIDI file. Okay, so what we do now is we move that MIDI region away like that, and then we go here, and again there's that bug. If I try and create a region, move that further out the way. If I try and create a region here by right clicking and doing create session player region, it will create a drummer region. Right. It normally does. Oh well, this time it hasn't. Well, it's a bit of a bug, but I'm going to do it here by clicking that. Doesn't really make any difference. All right, and then I'm going to shorten this, and let's drag it across like that. Okay, and there it is. And now this region, this session player region, is taking its chord instruction from the chord progression here that we extracted from that MIDI region there. Well, how about that? Oh my god, isn't that fantastic? Now we do the same thing. We need to get these chords embedded into that region. So right click, paste chords from global track. Now they're in the region. Drag off a copy just so we can check. And now this one, take the chords out of the region, follow global chord track. This is it, taking its chords from this chord track there. And this is it, self-contained with the chords built into the region. And there you go, it's exactly the same. They're both the same. So there's the one that we saved with the chords embedded in it. Loops, drag it in, boom. I'm going to call this, I don't know what that chord sequence is, jazz prog 1, I'll call it, or something. Oh, I did jazz chords here. I probably did this already, so I'm going to call this jazz chords 2. But if you know music theory, you'll know what to call this. Okay, I don't know music theory very well. I don't mind admitting it. I'm one of those people that sort of does everything by ear. Wish I knew more, but I don't. Anyway, boom, create, and there it is, jazz chords 2, and it's in there. And we took it from this MIDI region. It's a little bit of a faff, but I mean, imagine, you know, when you've got some time, you just download jazz chord progressions or any other chord progressions as MIDI files. It's not that much of a palaver to it to create these special session player regions from it, and you can gradually build your library. But the thing is, once they're built, they're just going to work in any key. Now, this is in B major 7, but if I drag it onto here like that, oh, it is keeping the same. Oh, hang on. why it's keeping that sequence when... I'll tell you what, let's try something here. Let me undo that. What if I change the key here to, at this point here, let's change the key to, oh, I don't know, let's go with A. Will it change this jazz chord thing, or is it still going to play the same chords? Oh no, it's changed. Yeah, look, now it's G sharp major 7/9 instead of B minor 7/9, followed by G sharp major 7 instead of B. So it's keeping all the same relationships, isn't it? That's amazing, isn't it? Isn't that amazing? Anyway. Okay, and one last thing to finish. Earlier in the tutorial I said that when you're manually creating your chord progression regions, that it's probably a good idea to make the chords change every bar, just because it's easier to work that way. And then afterwards, when you bring one of your saved regions, chord progression regions, into a project, you can easily change the speed of it. So instead of the chords changing every bar, they'll change every half a bar or every quarter beat, or you can make it change longer, like it'll hold chords for every 2 bars or something like that. And it's really easy to do that. This is the chord, however, that we extracted from this MIDI file, so it's different. This one, the chords are changing every half a bar. Look, okay, so half a bar, 2 beats, 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 right? So yeah, all right. So if we want this so that these chords change every bar, at the moment they're changing every half a bar, we just want to expand this chord block, so which came from our saved chord. So we just hold down Option, and then we get that symbol changing on the bracket at the rear of the chord block. That's the sort of time stretch, sort of compress or expand thing, and we just drag this chord block out to be 4 bars long instead of 2 bars long, and it stretches it out, and then we drag the region to match, and now the chords are changing every bar. Or Command Z to undo, we can shrink it, and Command Z to undo that again. Shrink it, Alt, and shrink it in. Let's make the whole thing 1 bar long, and now these chords are going to change every quarter beat. Like that, yeah? Cool, huh? So you can do all that, okay? And surely you can work out how to do variations, can't you? Maybe I can do this. We could have it go like that, and then if I select the chord block and Command R to repeat it, then shrink it in like that to be 1 bar long, and then put in a new region there. Let's bring that in like that. Okay, and then repeat that. Command R, and then repeat that, Command R. And now it's going to play once with the chords changing at half a bar, and then 2 bars where they change every quarter beat. What we could do maybe is repeat that phrase there twice. Command R. Okay, drag that across like that, and then finish up with the end bit of the phrase, but make this last a bar for the last 2 chords, and then we get that. can do all that kind of thing. Okay, so that's how you do that. Are you not impressed? And so you can build up a massive library of chord progressions, and then, you know, yeah, you could build up a massive collection of chord progressions, drag them in and use them anytime. And remember, the beauty of these is that once they're dragged in, these chord progression, the chord progression across the top, any chord in that progression can be edited. The timing of it can be changed, as I just showed you, by using the compress or expansion for the thing, and then the pattern just follows it. And the patterns themselves can be fully edited, you know, like this whole thing here, for example. At the moment it's doing broken chords, but I could set it to freely to play it instead. Play it left hand lower down. Let's have the left hand doing the root and octave. Let's have it playing a complex thing there. More complexity overall. Quieter. Higher up with the other hand. Or really low for both hands. You know what I mean? So you're totally open-ended to then tweak these patterns in any way you want. Yeah? So that's how you do that. Bit of a long one, right? But I mean, are you not impressed? Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Yeah, are you not entertained? I mean, this is trick stuff, right? I just saw somebody had left a comment somewhere on the internet saying, oh, it's a shame there aren't more chord progressions because you only get 6. And I thought, well, there's got to be a way to do this. So I spent a few hours experimenting. And this is basically the tricks, the shortcuts to how to do that. Well, it's not. This is not like official stuff, but that is how you do it. So that's really cool, and you find that useful. And it's great that we can do this because you know, chord progressions are the basis that all songs are built on. So you can build up a massive collection of chord progressions and just drag them and drop them as the starting point for all songs that you want to do, bits of music you want to do. It's really good. And bear in mind, they're completely open-ended, as I showed you in the tutorial. Any of the chords along the length of the chord progression, you can go in and tweak it to make variations that you want. And the yellow region is completely open to be tweaked with the keyboard player, you know, session player editor, to have the chords played in whatever style, loudness and busyness and all the rest that you want. And bear in mind, if you can't quite get the playing that you want from that yellow pattern editor thing, then just get it as near as you can, and then convert the yellow session player, keyboard player region to a green MIDI region, and then go into piano edit and manually tweak it to get it exactly to do what you want to do. So subscribe and put on notifications. Let me know what you think, and I'll be along with more content soon, yeah? Until then, stay cool, man.